out some of the feedback that came when you were presenting. Okay, so I didn't want to
previous slide,
but there were some feedback as well. So keep this slide on, so that give people some time to reach out to you if they want to. So keep this slide. So there was Muhammad Khurshid, all the way from Calcutta. He said, feeling charged and inspired by your words. And then Michael Taylor said, Ao Yong said he really felt with your sharing, and you have been sharing a lot on your experience, cultures, racism, and family. My question to you, this is a question. So my question to you is, how would you react or respond to something that in your heart you liked it very much, but in your thoughts that this is not your cup of tea? Put it simply, a conflict between the mind and the heart. Okay, so let's take some time to answer Ao Yong's question.
I think I would need to ask a little bit more deeply what specific situation that is.
Ao Yong, I will allow you to talk. If you like to expand on your question, you can unmute yourself, Ao Yong.
Hello, Ao Yong.
Okay, maybe Ao Yong is shy. Ao Yong, if you like to expand on your question, you can receive as well. But Abel, if you can find it in the Zoom, it's the question that he asked is, it's basically I think what he means is, if you have a conflict, there's something that there's something that your heart would like it, but you can't do it. I think that's what he means. Like he says in his own words, how would you react or respond to something that in your heart you liked very much, but in your thoughts it's not your cup of tea? So it's actually very subjective. But
Ao Yong, I can only give you a very limited perspective, which is my perspective. And you know, like I said, please pick and choose, because my life will never be your life, and the situation will always be different. I have been in a situation where I was in such much conflict about, I have already very little energy. I have to take care of my children. I have to try to be a good wife to my husband. I want to please him. My husband is still Asian, and he has this perspective and idea that the wife should and must help the husband in his business. Even though I already am trying so hard to grow my own career and my business. So this is my conflict, where I want to say no to my husband many times. My heart tells me, no, I don't want to do it. But what I did was, for the longest time, I pushed myself to do everything. But eventually I become depleted. And when I did everything, that was in my 20s and my 30s, when I was willing to give because I had more energy, I had more time, I was able to give. At my age right now, I'm less willing, I have less energy, I'm wiser, more experienced. I have less time because I'm growing older, just like everybody else. So now I tell my husband, I said, I have to say in a very nice way, and sometimes we have fights, of course. We have been together for 24 years, but I would say to him, and my husband only listen better when I'm speaking calmly. And I would say to him, I said, I cannot keep doing this. I want to help you. But I said, do you realize that I'm really struggling? I have only so much. I said, can you feel my pain? Can you hear it? And sometimes when I'm saying this, I'm crying. And when somebody loves you and understands and tries, he started to take time too. He started to understand that I was doing too much and I no longer wanted. And at the moment in time, I stopped asking him for permission. There was a time when you must make that decision and the cut in your life where you choose your heart. So my answer would be, I choose from my heart more than my mind. My heart is wiser, more experienced. And I am not a selfish person. I know this. I give until I couldn't. So I know that I'm not selfish by setting my boundaries. I know I'm not selfish by saying no. And when I said no, it wasn't I asking him for permission anymore. It was just, no, I'm sorry, honey. I'm not doing this anymore. I quit. And I quit the job where I was a partner with. I stopped doing the things that he wanted me to do. And I said, this is what I'm able to do, what I'm willing to do, what I can do. Accept it. Because the words of divorce within the 24 years we were together is too many. I can't count. But I do hope that I answered some of that, your question. So, but you know, I do go with my heart more now than my mind.
Thanks for your heartfelt sharing, Abel. That was so good. And I hope that answered your question as well, Ao Yong. So if that answered your question, can you reply to us in the chat and say yes as well? And thank you so much, Abel, for sharing again. And thanks, Ao Yong, for your question. I see Carol here, Carol Sia from Singapore, and she said, can you show your previous slide, please? But I'm not sure which previous slide do you
this one or is it another one? Can you please?
Yeah, Carol, if you like, you can let us know as well. And then Roxana said, so inspiring, Abel. Thank you for this absolutely beautiful talk. So yes, 100% with Roxana as well, all the way from Romania. I believe we have a question. Okay, so we have a question from Michael Taylor. Michael Taylor is in Hong Kong. Okay, so I think it's from, he is living in Hong Kong for many years now. And Michael Taylor asked, any tips on presenting one slide online? I tend to, I believe he said one slide online. I tend to ramble on. Oneself, sorry. Any tips on presenting oneself online? I tend to ramble on. So that's Michael Taylor's question.
Okay, that is definitely a habit. Maybe you want to elaborate, and that's something that you need to be aware of. So I would suggest that you try to practice. I'm a homework kind of girl. I can be a little bit geeky like that. Like I like my homework, you know. I like to do like my scripts and things like that. I really enjoy it. That's one of the reasons why I love my work as a presenter. I like to write my scripts. And what I do is when you're talking to people, especially in the masses, you need to be simple, precise, and give something that is beneficial for others. So instead of talking to hear your own voice, which we all tend to do sometimes, you know, because our experience is the most heartfelt and the most deep. So we always tend to share experiences. So that is not always an egoic thing. It's also to share yourself with others so that others can, you know, receive, learn, connect with you as well. But try to be aware, because you are aware now that you do ramble sometimes. So when you're practicing, after you write your script, practice and please say it to somebody. And I would recommend you not to practice in front of someone who you know too well. You should practice in front of people who you have a little bit of slight fear, so they can kind of represent a real crowd, because you will never always talk to your partner, your girlfriend, your wife, right? You will be talking to people that you don't know, who will give you that sense of nervousness, anxiety, and fear. And ask them, what do they think of your slide? And I would always recommend at least two people to get their feedback. So if you feel that you have improvements or you have areas of improvements, of course, I can help you as well, but I don't want to sell you my service right now. Just want to let you know, get at least two people to listen to your presentation, and they will say, oh, you know, Michael, I think you elaborated too much. You took too much time. Because, for example, if Bob tells me I have only 1 hour, I have to respect his time. It's a long day for him. I cannot go over the time and be like an hour and a half and think that, oh my God, I'm so important, you must listen to me. It's disrespectful to talk too much. So there is a fine line between, okay, you want to elaborate, but then other people might not always perceive you that way. So keep your message simple, especially with a crowd. fake audience. You don't know their background. You don't know where they come from. Use simple words. Speak as if you're speaking to someone across from the coffee, instead of saying like, sophisticated words, unless you are a doctor speaking to a group of doctor. And be more precise. So that's what I would say. Did I help answer your question?
I think only Michael can answer that. So Michael, if that helped, please put it in the chat, or actually enable you to unmute yourself. So if you have further things to add to your question, you can unmute. Feel free to unmute yourself too. We love to answer your question. But I would say the best way is to work with a coach like Abel. So that is very good to get not only a mirror, but a mirror that has experience when it comes to presenting. Okay, so yeah, Michael, I hope that answered your question. And he said yes. So Ao Yong as well. So Ao Yong responded. He's very shy, so he responded. Sorry, I know Ao Yong very well. So Ao Yong said, "I'm so glad to hear that. I love the way you answered my question. You decide with your heart. Seems like emotional, but that's more like me as well." Oh, Ao Yong is emotional. Yes, I learned something from you, Abel, and that's priceless. I'm happy that you answered from your experience and heart. Thanks, Ao Yong. Thanks for your question as well. Last call for questions before we end the session. And Abel did an amazing job today. Learned so much. Learned especially from the sharing of stories. And also the various tips that you shared. Learned so much from that. And a question just came in from Khurshid. He said, "I become blank in my words when I speak in mass. How can I overcome it?"
Okay. I have a simple answer for you, or a deeper one. A simple one would be, try to not focus too much on how you think other people are going to perceive you. Because this is one thing that I always know, and I always know this from a childhood. And as a very sensitive person, and my sensitivity is beneficial in many ways and also a curse in some ways, what you realize is people will judge anyways. People will think anyways. People will perceive anyways. People will talk anyways. When you are presenting, please do not worry about others, how they will see you, how they perceive you. As long as you practice, you do your best, and you are giving, sharing, gifting them something. Because being too much in your head, and maybe you have anxiety from your childhood also, maybe somebody criticized you or something like that. And I actually still had somebody laugh at me, not laugh with me. Another adult, actually, a Singapore group, laugh at me when I consider myself a professional presenter in 2019. And let me tell you, I was still embarrassed for 5 seconds, but because I had to work, I allowed myself to go past that. I understood why, because they didn't understand how hard it is to do my job. And I had compassion for them. So to help you answer your question is, we tend to get super nervous because we are worried about what the other side is going to say, see, judge, perceive, all of this stuff. And instead, you focus all your energy on being the best that you can give to others through practicing your script, being there. And you have to do these deep breath, practices that I do. There are other practices, but I tend to do deep breathing. Every time I breathe out, I'm pushing out all the stress. And I find that the more I do the deep breaths in, deep breaths out, my shoulders will go from here and slowly come down. My face will start to soften. I start to get very focused, even though there's a lot of noise around me. People, music, walking in, boom, 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 lights. I mean, I've hosted huge events, up to 3,000, 4,000 people. And you must focus on yourself. You have to shut everything down outside. It's not about them anymore. It's about how you deliver the message through you. So be with yourself, focus only on the task at hand. Let people be. let them be, to let them do their own thing. Keep your energy for yourself. If you have fear, push it out as excitement, energy at the beginning, because you will find that your energy at the beginning will be explosive. That's how you get the attention. Use the feeling of fear and turn it into excitement. Get people to listen to you. And then as you start speaking, you will calm down. That's what I would suggest for you. It's not easy for me to explain something like this in such a short time, but I have to, answer other questions as well. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, he said, thank you. You are right. Same thing happens. And he said, thanks for your sharing. So Krushit said, thanks so much for your sharing. So thanks, Abel, for your heartfelt question. Actually, I have a question myself. So it occurred to me to ask this question. Okay, so as a person, I'm in public a lot. So how I practice, who is from Columbus, Ohio? Yes, Glenn is from Columbus and now lives in Bali. So not very far from you, Abel, but he's like, you're in Phuket and he's in Bali. You're in the Bali, Thai version of Bali.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question. Me personally, I always push the envelope. I always do things that are new and challenging for me. So when I was practicing public speaking, instead of going to join Toastmasters or anything else, I took up stand-up comedy.
Wow.
Right? So I actually did open mics. I did it for a year, open mics, doing stand-up comedy. And that's how I got better at public speaking. And I love the process because it's something I really love. I love comedy. This year, I'm doing something different where I am singing on stage. So I am taking singing lessons and going to jam sessions and singing on stage. So as a public person, you will understand this. So I also do summits like this, and it's part of me pushing myself. So sometimes when I do all these challenging things, there are times when I fail or hit some kind of disappointment, or I fail. Okay, so I know what I do. I'll just get over it and get on stage the next time. That's the best healing for me. I'll just go, I'll bomb on stage, and then next week you'll see me again. That's how I deal with it. I don't have internally, I don't sound whatever. I bomb, next week you'll see me again. I'm the first person next week. But how do you deal with situations where maybe things don't go so well?
Let me tell you, I have encountered so many things that doesn't go well. I have had clients who do not feel it was important to give me the event flow. So I had no idea what's going on. And I had to prepare the script 15 minutes before the event started. Can you imagine how angry I was? Because I kept asking the event organizer, so when are you going to give me this? Can you please give me that? And you know what I have to do? This is something that outside of my control. I asked 3 or 4 times. They don't give. That's it. No more. I have to just go and wing it. I have to go and wing it. And I have to go there and I have to say, okay, I got my computer. Do you have a printer for me? Make sure you have a printer for me. We're going to get everything pounded out right now. Give me everything right now. And I will ask and demand this 15 minutes before, and they will realize how important it is. I have had people, like I said, I had people laugh at me, and I have pretty thick skin from my childhood. And, like I said, I'm still very sensitive. And I feel hurt still, but my hurt is shorter and shorter and shorter. Before it would be months, years. Now it can be days, minutes, because I start to understand why people laugh at you, because they don't understand. They don't have the compassion. So just like you, Bob, I would just go, all right, I know I did my best. I know I put the time to doing the best that I can within my ability, within what I have control over. And then I have to leave, for example, scripts, prep, everything, event organizer, 80% of the work. But the other 20% you cannot control. Music failures, video failures, light failures. People are not ready. You cannot find a speaker when they're just gone. You have no idea where they're at. They went smoking or whatever. I would have to chase people. Where's this person? Where is this? Then you have to do more than what you're supposed to do. And I'm willing to do that because I want the event or whatever it is to be great. And when it's done, you have to leave it in the past. If you made a mistake, if I made a mistake, and I don't make mistakes very often, because I push myself so much, similar to you, to do all the prepping. If I do make a mistake, I will say to somebody, whoever it is, I'm really sorry, I did not know, or I would apologize. But I tend to find myself in more of a support role or a leader role, a guiding role, because I'm also always quite calm at the event. But mistakes come all the time. Things you have no control comes all the time. And when it's the past, in my present moment, my present life now, with my understanding, if it's finished, it's finished. And I don't stay in there because I have too many other things to do. So my kids stuff. So I just leave it done, embarrassed for a few moments, whatever. I do better next time. That's what I say. That's it.
Amazing. Thanks.
Cannot be too harsh on yourself. We're human. Yeah. We're learning, right?
Yeah. It's very important to move forward and take the next step. Thanks so much for sharing, Abel. I really learned from that sharing as well. Because I think one important thing is, because looking at your reel or looking at your content, it's very different from listening to you now, because just saying there's not much vulnerability in your content or your but listening to you today, it's very different. I'm like, oh my God, Abel, and I think all of us from the audience as well see, oh, actually there is this side of you that is going through challenges, same like the rest of us. So we don't feel don't feel challenged as well. So yeah, thanks so much for sharing. And I think last call for questions. I think I have to let Abel go on with her night. It's very late now in Phuket. So last call for questions. If there are no questions, I would like to request a favor from all of you. If you receive value from today's session with Abel, can you please share with her, thank her in the chat as well, show your appreciation in the chat. We will be ending this live stream. I'll be ending the whole summit in a few minutes. So if you'd like to show appreciation to Abel, please put it in the chat. And thank you all for being here, and thank you all for coming. I know we have people all over the world, and it's quite late for some of you and quite early for some of you. So it depends where you are in the world. So thank you as well, Abel. Ao Yong says, thank you, Abel, for this wonderful sharing. Kenny, all the way from Luxembourg, say great insights. Catherine Yong, actually, I'm not sure where Catherine Yong is from, but she says, thanks, Abel.
多謝歐央你嚟參加我呢個 summit， 你話想聽我講廣東話啊嘛，所以我而家特登講啲廣東話俾你聽。So 多謝你問問題，同埋多謝你留喺度咁耐，多謝你。Okay.
You don't want to hear me speak Cantonese, because when I speak Cantonese,
thank you, Carol. Thank you, Helder.
Some British guy in the TVB drama. So, so Helder as well. Helder says fantastic presentation. Thank you, and thank you from Pakistan. So thank you from Pakistan. Michael Taylor says, thanks so much. Enjoy your presentation as always. Yeah, thank you from me as well, Abel. And for the rest of you, I am actually offering the recording as a paid option only. So it's only $10. So if you like the recording of all the sessions for today, you can type in recording in the chat, and I will share the link of the payment link there. And I'll be sharing the recording to you as well. So today we had amazing share session starting with LinkedIn, and then we had Nick Dang share with us about career, how you should choose the path of career or entrepreneurs, and then we had Fautri, who shared with us how you set goals and then how you achieve those goals, and then after that we had Claudia, who shared with us on success mindset. It's very cool presentation on, she says you need to be aware of who is riding the elephant. And last but not least, once you have your mindset, once you have your SMART goals, of course, is Abel on how you get yourself out there. So it's a good compliment to end the session today. So if you like the recording, please reach out to me. If not, I will send you it it to you via email as well. Thank you all for being here. And I would like to wish all of you good night and thanks for attending the session, especially to those who have been here the whole day. Carol has been here for most of the day. Glenn has been here the whole day. Matthew, Sir, Kenny Rivaldi, Khurshid has been here for every single session. And last but not least, Roxana for joining us from Romania. Carol as well. Sorry, Carol Asia from Singapore. Best summit attendee ever. She attended all my summits, all the sessions. So this is her second summit, all the sessions. So I think Carol will be connecting with you. She's very active. So please connect with Carol. She's based in Singapore as well. So thank you so much, Abel, and thank you so much for all of you still being here. I'd like to wish you all good night and goodbye for now. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
And bye as well. Bye, Abel. And Glenn says thank you as well. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks again, Bob.